Ultimately, we want this house to be a house for all people. We want all people to be able to come together and to offer prayer in one voice. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the beginning of this day. This is a day that cleanses us. In some ways, this might be the most difficult part of the day because we have come from our regular day into Kodesh, into holiness. And I understand if that transition is hard. We left the day behind us and now we enter into this space. But I want to share for a few moments a theme that I think is incredibly important for each of us. And that is the theme of how important it is to receive and to give a blessing. What does it mean for us to need to be blessed? How important is it for us to bless? And all of us need to be blessed, and trust me, all of us can bless others, and we need to bless others. I want to share a story with you. You may have read this story about two sisters in their 90s, both of them survivors of the Shoah, survivors of the Holocaust, who died within several weeks of each other down south where they've been living in Birmingham, Alabama for decades. Their names are Ilse Nathan and Ruth Siegler. They were born in Germany, and in 1944, they were taken to Birkenau concentration camp with their parents. And their father had a sense of what was going on, and he turned to the two of them and he said, "The two of you are young. Maybe you will survive." And he offered them a blessing. He raised up his hands, and while the article recited the blessing in English, we know what it was. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, ye'er Adonai panav elecha v'yikuneka, yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you, may God shine light upon you, may God give you peace. Of the immediate family, only the two sisters survived. And Ruth, the younger of the two, in her late 80s, wrote a memoir, and she called it My Father's Blessing. And she wrote the following about the blessing that her father gave her many years ago in that horrible place. "I did not know it at the time, but my father's blessing would have to last me a lifetime." I want us to think about that, about what it means for a blessing to have to last for a lifetime, about what it means for a blessing to actually succeed in lasting for a lifetime. We all need to be blessed. I don't care how successful we are. I don't care how prestigious we are. Each and every one of us needs to be blessed. We need the basic affirmation that comes from another human being, recognizing and giving voice to our basic core value. Perhaps we have received blessings from loved ones all of our lives. Perhaps we have always been on the receiving end of the kind of affirmation that allows us to thrive. And if that is the case, that is wonderful. We are very fortunate. We are truly blessed. Sometimes the blessings have to last for a long time. Shortly after I arrived at Temple Israel, was speaking with an older member of the congregation, a remarkable woman who was so capable at giving other people the benefits of her insight and her strength. And she said to me, "Rabbi, a lot of people will say to you that you have big shoes to fill. And I say to you, you'll wear your own shoes." Now, she's been gone for a number of years, but by giving me that blessing, she gave me some affirmation that I have been able to carry with me all of the years since she has been gone. When my sisters and I were growing up, my father, before Kol Nidre, would gather us together, and he would say, "I'm very proud of each of you." He went one after the other. He said, "I am proud of you." He's been gone now a number of years. My sisters and I, we call each other, If it's a crazy day, sometimes it's a text. We say, I am proud of you, Gemar Chatima Tova. That blessing has lasted a very long time. Sometimes we don't get the blessings that we need, for whatever reasons. Maybe the home in which we were raised was not a home in which affirmation was regularly shared. Maybe we're going through a period in our lives where we feel alone emotionally. It is okay to offer yourself a blessing. The great composer and singer Paul Simon wrote and sang a beautiful song called American Tune. He says in that song, I dreamed that my soul rose unexpectedly and looking back down on me, smiled reassuringly. Sometimes we need to get a smile from our own souls because that's the only place where it's going to come from. We say every day, Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi, the soul that you have given me is pure. Sometimes we need to offer ourselves a bracha until it comes from someone else. We need it, we crave it, and I'm here to say to each of us, friends, we also have to give it. We have to give a blessing to other people. We may say, who am I? Mi ani, like Moses said. Who am I to give a blessing? I am not so righteous myself. Does the other person really need to hear from me? And the answer is yes, they do, especially if it is a partner or a child or a parent or a friend. We may say, I don't always like what the other person is doing. I don't approve of every decision that the other person makes. That doesn't matter. The blessing isn't you're always right. The blessing is you have a divine spark that I recognize and love. We may say, I'll bless my children, I'll bless my nieces and nephews. I'm not going to bless my parents. They're above me in the holiness ladder. I say to you, everybody requires and needs a blessing. If we can bless our parents, if we can tell them that we love them, that they have done right by us, that is extremely valuable. And I want to discuss a theme which is very important. We can offer a blessing to people that we don't know. We can offer a blessing to people who are engaged in holy work, even if we don't know them personally. I'm sure that everybody is aware that there has been widespread protest in Iran following the death of Mahsa Amini. She was arrested and beaten. She died as a result for refusing to wear a hijab, for refusing to dress the way the government insists that women dress in public. And that has sparked protests. And a number of people in our congregation have offered blessings to the people who are protesting. Someone who spent her youth in Iran before the revolution, who received her medical education there, wrote the following: I am the product of that glorious bygone era of Iran, the time when women were allowed to express themselves fully, and I am proud of it. My heart aches for all the lost opportunities for the Iranian women, but I am in awe of their strength and determination for demanding their freedom. And then these were her words: God bless all the young Iranian men and women who are putting their lives in danger for achieving their goal. I say God bless all those who are fighting in Iran, who are fighting elsewhere to ensure basic human rights. Unfortunately, many of these protests are being repressed, but nevertheless, we need to offer our blessing and our strength. The next thing, we might think we don't know the right words to say. I'm sitting with a child, I'm sitting with a sibling, I'm sitting with a loved one, I don't know what to say. It doesn't matter what you say. What matters is that you offer the blessing with love. When the Kohanim bless the people, they say, we thank you, God, for commanding us levarech et amo Yisrael be'ahava, to bless the people with love. One way to understand it is you offer the blessing lovingly. Another way to understand it is the love is the blessing. You are offering your love as a blessing. If you have ever said the wrong thing to a child, you know that if you say it and it comes from a place of love, they are likely to forgive you. If it's not coming from a place of love, you can get all the words right. It doesn't matter. We have to offer our love as a blessing. What is this day ultimately about? This is a day of affirmation. It is not a day of suffering. It is not a day for us to feel bad about ourselves. It is not a day for us to imagine that we need to do better because God doesn't love us. That is not what this day is about. The fact that God turns to us and says, you can improve, you can be a bolder and more creative and more compassionate self, means that we are loved because you don't bother to challenge somebody that you don't care about. Our Creator turns to us today with the blessing that says, you are treasured and loved as you are and as you might be. We all need to be blessed, and therefore we understand that we all need to offer each other blessings. We don't have to know everybody who we bless personally. We don't have to find all of the right words. We don't have to approve of everything the other person does. Imagine how much pain could be avoided if we would be able to offer each other the blessing of our hearts, the blessing of our love. So if we want to, we should offer each other the words Yivarechecha. And if we want to, we should offer each other the blessing of I love you. And if we want to, we should offer each other the blessing of you'll wear your own shoes. And if we want to, we'll offer the blessing that says I am with you in your struggle. And if we want to, we will offer a blessing without words, our mere presence that says my heart and my soul affirm who you are. So I want to conclude my comments on this holiest night of the year by offering our entire community a blessing. Dear Temple Israel community, I love you and I bless you. We are not perfect, but we are doing good and holy work. We are teaching multiple generations how to face the world as Jews. We are supporting each other through darkness and light. We are supporting people here and in Eretz Yisrael. We are supporting people anywhere they are fighting for decency and justice. May God give us the strength to meet new challenges as we continue our holy work. May we find it in our hearts to be fountains of blessing for each other. May we bless one another be'ahava, with our love, not just on Yom Kippur, but all day long, because God knows we need it. Shana Tova, Chatima Tova.